further ado, this is Tanya Schlusser with her talk.
Ooh, yay. Oh, cool, thank you. Okay. So I'm real excited. By the way, I just discovered how to do this. Wow, it's really loud. Really loud. I just discovered how to post slides in iPython on GitHub. I think it's awesome. If you want to know how to do that and you don't really care about making a book for Chippy, you can go to slide number 23. And that is me saying that you should do that, and you can do that now in the time that it takes for me to do this talk. Okay, cool. Okay, so we're going to look at the O'Reilly Python repertoire. And I will make it full screen. Cool. Cool, so we like beer, and we're here. And there was this listserv meeting saying, please give $1 because we have no more money. We're sad. See, no money. So we're crying because we're wanting beer. So what do we do? So we could just beg for money for Python, which is okay. And I think Brian mentioned that we could, I Googled for like chipmunk full Monty, and this is what I got. Okay. Or we could write a book and make tons and tons of money, because people who write books make lots of money. Yeah, but so I would love to do that, actually, and so I'm trying to get people around here to do that, too. Somebody thought that was a stupid idea. I don't know who he was, but so this is my opinion. I had to reference Python, of course. Okay. So this is something that's going to take a long time. I understand that. And so anyone who wants to work with me would be signing on for a long project. Maybe, unless we just help put Hitchhiker's Guide on, which is a possibility now. Okay, so we looked at the Python repertoire at O'Reilly, and there's like over 120 books. So let's look at what's there systematically. Okay. So here we go. I'm going to drop into compute, just to compute or not. So here's requests. We have the URL. We just loop over the pages and get the things we want out of them. Let me get out of this. And oh, come on, how do I do this? Escape. I'm hitting escape. Alt escape. Alt tab. Command control. Are you fucking with me, or is this for real? Okay. Okay. All right. All right. Okay, it worked, it worked, it worked. I'm not, yeah. I should never mistrust you again. Okay, so Shift-Enter executes a cell, so I'm executing. Some of these take a while to execute, so I can talk about code while it's executing. So if you haven't seen an iPython notebook, this is like the fucking bomb. This is the bomb. Like, why would you ever make slides in anything else? Why would you ever code in anything else and talk to people about code any other way than this ever again? So here we go. Yeah. So somebody mentioned this on the mentor like email that T was starting. Yeah, that was Brian mentioned something about, he said iPython, and then I saw 2 people give talks in iPython, and then I said, well, holy shit. Oh, okay. So what just happened? So okay, so requests, BeautifulSoup. People all know this stuff, so this is boring. Okay, looping, got it. Got my little plot. So we have exponential growth in Python publications year after year. 2010, something crazy happened. I wasn't satisfied. I just didn't understand anything from what I was plotting. But I'm showing like stream of consciousness data analysis. So what happened in 2010? Nothing particularly interesting. Cookbooks, Python. Nothing like, no like exciting new thing happened. Blender, that's really cool. Okay. So then I said, well, I didn't get anything from the titles that was useful. I'm not showing you that, but I did some analysis on the titles. And basically, every title is different, duh, because otherwise, why the fuck would you write a different book, right, of the same stuff? So then I got the descriptions together. So this is simple. I'll use the natural language toolkit. Somebody already presented on that. And I split all the words out. And I just said the measure for how similar things are is going to be the percent of the set, that is together in each of these. So this is the output of just all the words. And these are the titles. Okay, useless but sad. Okay. Okay, so what am I? So this is where I go back to each page and I get the description from the book for each of the books. Okay, this takes a while. Does anyone care about the code? Because I can talk about the code. Is anyone new to Python? No, everyone is here because Kenneth was here, and they're like, he's so awesome. It's hard. Should I make it bigger? How do I make it bigger? Command plus. I trust you now. Okay. Oh, shit. Okay. Oh, fuck.
Never trust Anthony.
Okay. Line by line? Don't trust him. Okay. We should have the guy from the financial talk come here, the guy who wrote the Monte Carlo library.
You spent a lot of time with Python, or?
So I've taught Python to 36 people at various companies, and I've spent about 3 years there, 2 or 3.
That would,
Yeah.
that would, if you were going to talk through it, like, I know, I jump around from language to language, never seem to kind of get comfortable with one.
Okay.
And so that's for me, like, I feel like I could get to, from an LTK.corpus import stop words, and then there would be 3 lines after that, and then it would be an abandoned project.
Oh, okay. Cool. So this is the place where I get the data from the web page, and result.txt is the actual HTML of the text. And BeautifulSoup is a library that parses the HTML and then makes it so that you can descend into it. So now this is like where I had to go look in the web page and find out where in the web page it was the thing I wanted. And I'm saying I want these books. And then I want to go through the titles. And I want to get, this is the place where the address is for the title's description, because it's just like a whole bunch of titles, right? Then you click on the title, there's a description pops up.
This is like source window in one Python notebook.
Yeah, this is like Chrome, like inspect element. Fine. Yeah. Okay. So here I get the next one, and see how easy it is. My requests. Okay. Then I get the next web page. I find the description that I want. And then here's the part with the natural language toolkit, which is all just one single line. So for this title, it's a dictionary of title and then all of the description of the text, right? And I'm stemming the words. So do you know what stemming is? Okay, so does anyone else not know what stemming? Stemming is when you, some guy wrote some way of taking things that are similar, like plurals or conjugations of verbs, and whacking off the end so that they're all the same word. So that do, doing, did, does, hopefully all is the same word now. Okay. Who? Dude, okay. Dude is like plural or gender free.
Gender non.
Yeah. Dude, okay. Chipette.
Well,
Yeah. We're past the 15. It's time to go?
we're stemming.
Yeah, we're stemming. Yeah. Oh. Excellent. So I'm just doing a list comprehension. Right, so I am taking the entire description, lowercase, of course, because I don't care whether it's uppercase or not. I am splitting it on spaces or punctuation. If it's not one of the stop words, like the or has or to or whatever the stop word is, then I'm going to put it in this set of words that is the all the words in this description. Done. Okay. The natural language toolkit, yes, because I don't know anything about stop words. Caveat: if you do this, no, but if you use somebody else's stop words and you actually care about the result, you should look at the stop words so that you don't have some famous the guy who taught me this stuff said that some paper that was published about analytics on the stock market had stop words that are very important to stock trading pulled out, and they didn't realize that. So be careful. I don't have to be careful because I'm doing this for a little chippy talk. Okay. No, it finished. I was talking way too much. Okay, so now I'm going to do what I said. The metric is how much overlap is in the words for each document. Okay. Cool. Good. And then these are the titles that seem to come together. Too hard to read still, not easy to understand. Okay, so I'm going to now get a clustering library. Okay, this is the hierarchical clustering library from scipy. This wasn't hard to do. It wasn't actually that horrible. I actually have instructions on the Git, the README, if you want to like install this stuff. Okay, so now I make a plot. Okay, here, and this is the plot. This is my mom. She's really cute. She's the reason why I can do stuff like book projects, because I don't have a job. Okay, so this is what the clustering output does. It pairs the two closest in distance, whatever your distance metrics is. Oh, is that the 15-minute? Am I done? Okay, okay. Gong, get the fuck out of here. My parking. Okay, cool. Okay, so the hierarchical clustering algorithm is just two closest things together, you're now a cluster. Next two closest things together, you're a cluster. And it keeps on doing that until they're all together. So they're tied up to the top. Okay, look at all the numpy stuff is together. That's a super cluster. Okay. So 120 titles, except for the ones that are videos, because I thought they were stupid. They're like competing with Udacity, question mark, except for they're not cool. Okay. Great. So I didn't like that. It was too hard for me to read, so I made my own. Okay, so this is now, this is the way that you can put D3 inside of an iPython notebook. And now you have a slide. You can even, like, if I were on the slideshow, what slide is this on? Crap. Okay, come on. This is interactive on a slide in my slideshow. Oh my God, wow. Why the fuck would I ever do post PowerPoint again? Okay, yay. So this is my human, so the way I approach data science is I do stuff, and then after a while I'm like, holy shit, this is taking way longer than I thought. I'm just doing it by hand, because one project I'm doing it by hand, screw this. So this is my by hand classification of these books, so sorry. I learned that from a guy who wrote code in 30 minutes, and I wrote code in like 4 or 6 hours. And he ran his code, it ran for 6 hours. He was outside playing volleyball, and then he came back in, and he got the same result as me. And I ran my code, it ran in 2 minutes. I was very proud of myself. But I'd sat on my ass for 6 hours. And he was outside, he had a tan, it was really nice. Okay, so the Python books break up into like actual programming titles, like what they're teaching you programming. Python for kids, boring stuff with Python. I'm fluent in Python. I'm learning iPython 1, 2, and 3. Python and XML, why is that in there? Python for dummies, Python for kids, Python for Windows 32 because you need an entire book for that because it's so fucking horrible. Yeah. Okay, advanced Python, only 17, like object-oriented. This is like where you start getting into major programming concepts and then the Python flavor of them, I guess. Python, high performance, okay. Concise, so this is like Python cookbook, this, that, other cookbook. There are other cookbooks, but they're specialized, so I put them in different ones. Everyone wants to write a cookbook. The R community here wrote the R cookbook, and then the R community here wrote a survey of parallel libraries for R that was like less than 60 pages. But it was a book, and they read it together. It was very nice. Okay, games and web, so lots of like Blender, FreeCAD, CV, Maya. Some of these I'd never heard of before, so I had to look them up, so I may have misclassified them. Okay. Kivy, Django Flask, Grok, Django Flask. I should have seen how many Djangos versus how many Flasks are here. Okay. Data. So these are all the ways that you can talk to data libraries. Okay, lots of NumPy, NumPy text, lots of cookbooks, Sage. Does anyone use Sage? I've never heard of it before. Okay. Okay. Are there testing books? No. There's one book in testing. There's one. Okay, and then applications like bio, these are like super specific that I wouldn't buy unless I was actually in the field. Okay, cool. So, okay, so that was all of my, let me go here. Next slide. There are a whole bunch of Django books and Flask. There are a couple of Flask books. Maybe you don't need a book for Flask because it's not so hard to learn. Okay, so pure programming, games, web, that's what I said already. I talked a lot about it. We could, if I don't even know what the makeup of this group is, like if we're finance people or if we're web, like graphics games people, I don't know who we are. Yeah, are we? No? We don't either? Oh, okay. Well, like that the Monte Carlo guy who did the talk for the data science group. He's here. Yeah, that guy. I linked to him if you want to, yeah. He's here in Chicago doing this shit. We should totally, if he were going to do a book. Huh? He's in Boston? No, doesn't he work for Quantopia? What? That's in Boston? We're cool enough. We have high-frequency trading. What does Boston have? Does Boston have a market? What the hell?
Wait, Boston market?
Cool. So I really actually would love to help with the Hitchhiker's Guide, because that would contribute to the whole community rather than a little piece, and it would make me better at Python, which is good too. There was support. One person sent back a positive response. Somebody else didn't, Brian, but that's okay. So this is the world that I lived in. I live in the database/data analytics world. So this is something that I would be able to help with if I feel like Java to me was the language you did real work in, and then Python was the language you did your hobbies in. I didn't realize that Python was a language people did work in. Well, there's this Berkeley paper that's just out about how people do analytics at work. They interviewed like 40-some people, and they categorized 3 types of people: app users, scripters, and hackers. And hackers are like the new people that are all in demand and everyone wants them. And after SQL, which everyone used for everything, and by the way, SQL wasn't used almost at all by scripters who use entirely SAS, and not very much by app users who use entirely GUI tools, right? So Python was the next most used language in the workplace. And I wonder if we need to think about how to support doing work level code. I mean, maybe that sounds stupid. Maybe I'm being arrogant that you guys don't already know how to code, or the community doesn't know how to code. Java forces documentation. Java requires, doesn't it? I mean, I feel more required to be good. I feel like I could just fart on a piece of page and do it, and it would run, and it would be Python code. And if I only had to use it for myself, that's fine. But if I'm working, maybe I have to do it better, and maybe it's important to try to do that. But it's not enforced. And so that was my idea: is maybe there's some best practices that enterprise Python users from here, like Braintree, Spot Hero, what's the data analytics company? God, Jesus. No, well, they use Python too, right? But I'm talking about the guys who sponsor the data science meetup. The Navy. Oh God, how sad.
Data stacks, continuum analytics.
Yeah, but those. So there are a bunch of people that are Python that are run by Python here. Okay, so that's all I had. But I think that everyone who ever gives a talk here ever again should always use iPython, because it's like the best ever. And so here's how. If you want to make your own iPython, you can do it right now. Okay, cool. So that's all I have. If you seriously want to do a book, I want to too. I have a lot of free time because I have no job. Yeah, I just have her. She's very cute.
Thank you.
Cool.
If you have a question, just raise your hand and I'll come around with the mic.
What tools would you suggest for a distributed effort like this?
GitHub.
For writing like say 15 people in Chippy start writing it. So would it be just everybody committing to a GitHub repo? How
Sure.
would it work?
Yes. Maybe we could use, so I think maybe iPython notebooks aren't, if there's any code, it's not super great because you update the notebook and it's like all updated in GitHub. It's hard to track. So if we were to do it on GitHub, then we would probably just use straight Markdown files, or maybe Sphinx style, and do like a Sphinx style doc. And then I can convert to LaTeX. I'm very good at LaTeX, so I can deal with all of that myself. Yes. Yeah, and I think from Sphinx too. Sphinx might be easier to work with because you can do it way modular. And iPython, I don't know how modular you can make it, unless other people know my iPython better than me. But I would do it in Sphinx. Yeah. Okay.
I'm kind of curious how your analysis could extend to other kind of publishers. I mean, it seems like certain publishers might have certain baskets or a niche or something, right? So like, right, like O'Reilly publishes certain types of books, and maybe A-Press publishes certain types of books. I'm curious of where, because not only was this interesting from like a chippy perspective, it was interesting like if I were a publisher, right?
Yeah.
Like what could I learn from your talk, right? I mean, if I were a publisher, I'd be like, we should publish more in this area because our competitor isn't. So I'm just curious how you could extend this into like cross-market or cross-publisher analysis.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, we just, I guess, add a flag or something for what company they're published under, and see if clustering groups them into different groups, or just mess around a little bit. If it's interesting, I can do another one. I want to do a Spark chippy talk, so then that could be Spark. It could be on a bigger data set. Yeah.
So then that analysis would say like this publisher A publishes like 40% of their books in like advanced Python, and this other one does only 10% of their catalog in like advanced Python.
Yes.
Thank you.
Interesting. Yeah.
Any other questions? Okay, this will be our last question.
You had mentioned about contributing to the community guide, the Hitchhiker's Guide to Python, writing a book. Like, what kinds of topics would you want to cover in the book?
Then it's no longer what I want, right? So it's already a community project. Right. So, but I could like talk to places and do more, like, decide how I could contribute, and maybe we could, as a group, insert individually into that project.
But there's no big structure or key concepts to cover?
I don't know. Where is the webpage for it?
python-guide.org.
So this is like already a book. It just needs to like get...
It's been written by like 200 or 300 people, but there's a lot of room for improvement, and especially if there was some kind of a... There's room for an official collaboration, especially if a group was going to do that. Well, I'm done talking now. Should I say it again?
No. Yeah.
There's definitely room for an official collaboration with a group of people that wanted to turn it into a book. I think that would be incredible, because that's something I've always wanted, and it's Creative Commons, so I know publishers are willing to publish Creative Commons books, and so yeah, it looks like so far is 155 people have contributed. So the workflow's in place, and there's we could definitely come up with things to do for it, because I think there's an entire refactor that's needed to be done right now, and there's just a lot. It's just kind of like I just wrote an outline, and then everyone kind of filled it in. So we could add more to the outline or reshape it, and there's lots of room for improvement. It's far from done, is what I'm saying.
Is this an iPython?
It tells you how to do to-dos.
Someone please write the to-do set.
I don't remember.
The ultimate answer to the ultimate question is do.
If you go back to the table of contents, let me see. I'm pretty sure there's a to-do section in there somewhere. I haven't looked at it in forever. I mostly just merge the pull requests right now. So, but yeah, that would be incredible. So I am definitely encouraging of that situation.
That would be cool.
Yeah. And I would, if it was to be published and sold, I would definitely want the money to go to something like, an organization like this. That'd be perfect.
That actually sounds like a good name for an organization.
Okay, thank you.